Okay, so it's becoming far too easy to waste your money when buying an eSIM. So many of them have slow speeds, poor coverage, and non-existent customer service, but that's not the case for SimLocal. They have some of the fastest speeds I've tested, fantastic coverage, and really impressive customer support. But what I love the most is that I found their pricing to be really competitive, and in some cases, actually cheaper than Airalo and better value for money than Holafly. So in this video, we'll quickly look at their pros and cons, check their pricing, and I'll also walk you through how to purchase and install one of their eSIMs. Okay, so I want to show you something. This is a Google page for SimLocal. They have a 4.9 from over 5,400 reviews. That's pretty impressive and a good indication that they take customer satisfaction and support very seriously. And this is important to highlight for two reasons. One, a lot of providers out there have quite low ratings and poor reviews. And two, eSIMs can have their technical difficulties, whether it's with installation or connectivity, and there's a chance that you might need help. Well, with SimLocal, and in my experience, their customer service was very good, and I tested their email and web chat, which were quick to get back to me, and they even have a telephone number. Now, you might be thinking that decent support means higher prices, but SimLocal is quite affordable. For low usage eSIMs, and just looking at a couple here, both the UK and Italy compared to Airalo are slightly cheaper. And for higher usage, SimLocal was again cheaper and also includes calls and texts, which is great. Holafly being unlimited is a little harder to compare, but looking at their regional Europe eSIM, it's twice as expensive as this 12 gig 14 day from SimLocal, which only costs $22. That's a pretty good deal, especially for European coverage. And you might be thinking, well, Johnny, Holafly are unlimited, so obviously cost more. And that's true, but we know that unlimited doesn't mean unlimited speeds. And with Holafly, you may encounter a fair usage policy and have your speeds throttled. While with SimLocal, the speeds should remain the same regardless of your usage, and really, for 14 days, 12 gigabytes should be plenty. Now, this is just a snapshot of some of their eSIMs, and of course, Airalo will have cheaper ones, and Holafly may be better for you depending on your usage, but I do love that SimLocal has both great prices and great support. So at this point, if you're interested in checking them out, then please consider using the link in the description box. That is an affiliate link, so by using it, you'll be supporting myself and the channel. We also have a coupon code that will unlock a 15% discount, so be sure to use Monito 15 when you check out. I'm currently testing SimLocal speeds. I started in a more urban built up area, but now as you can see, I'm basically in the middle of nowhere and I'm still seeing some good results. The speeds have been relatively similar to my normal carrier, and at times they've been as high as 50 megabits per second. Weirdly, I was able to get service in an area where I normally don't. So behind me is a forest where I like to walk, and it's basically a total dead spot. I never get service, but with SimLocal, I had a couple of bars. And I obviously don't live in a city like London where you'd expect great coverage all the time, but to see speeds as high as 50 megabits per second is quite reassuring, and definitely enough of a reason for me to want to try SimLocal for my next trip abroad. So customer service, pricing, and coverage are really promising. Just one downside is that SimLocal doesn't have the most amount of choice in terms of regional eSIMs. Right now, I couldn't see anything specific to Asia or North and South America. So if you're planning a trip to any of those regions, then you'll need to consider their global eSIMs. But if you're visiting Europe and for 14 or less days, then this $22 one is great value. And 12 gigabytes should cover you. Although if you're not sure how much data you'll need, then you can just use their roaming calculator, which by the way, is a great feature. You just estimate how much streaming or browsing you'll do, and if you'll be like checking security cameras and stuff like that. And after entering your trip length, it'll tell you roughly how much data you need. To my surprise, I found that I would need more than 12 gigabytes for 14 days. So this is quite informative and also a good reminder to try and use Wi-Fi to keep your data usage to a minimum. So you're going to want to download the SimLocal app. I'm using an iPhone, but they do have an Android version. And once you've got that, you can either create an account immediately or after you check out. For the sake of this video, I'll select a 1 gigabyte eSIM for the UK. And just remember to enter Monito 15 at checkout. And once you've got your eSIM, you can go ahead and activate it. But before we do, please make sure you have a stable internet connection. That's really important. And remember that once you activate, the plan will begin. So try to do this as close to when you think you'll need the eSIM. So go ahead and tap My eSIM and then the one you want to activate and then Install Plan. Here we have a few options. You can tap Download Plan for direct installation or via QR code or activation codes, which involves manually copying and pasting information. Let's just tap Download Plan as that basically does it all for you. You then want to tap Allow and then Continue. At this point, it should say activating, and this can take a couple of minutes, so just be patient, don't close the window, and wait until you see Mobile Plan Setup Complete, and then tap Done. Now we want to select our default line. Here you should see two options. Primary, which is your normal SIM, and secondary, which represents our new SIM local eSIM. It may be labeled as something different like travel, but whatever is beneath primary is your new eSIM. And for this option, we're basically selecting which SIM we want to use for calls and SMS. And in this case, the eSIM I'm activating doesn't have calls or text, so I'm going to keep it as primary. Now here we choose if we want to continue receiving iMessage and FaceTime. If you do, then make sure you select primary. But don't worry, your phone won't use your normal carrier or SIM for data because on this next page, we're going to select your new eSIM as the default line for data. So tap secondary on this one and also make sure allow mobile data switching remains toggled off. And that's pretty much it. Except we just need to do some quick housekeeping, beginning with renaming our new eSIM. So go to your phone settings, tap mobile or cellular service, and then under SIMs, tap your new eSIM, which for me is called secondary. Then go to mobile plan label, and under custom label, change it to something more recognizable. I'll call this UK-SIM local 2. And once that's done, go back to secondary and toggle data roaming to on. Now, once you connect to a local network, your plan will begin and you can start using your new eSIM for data roaming. And if you want peace of mind that your phone isn't going to use your primary or normal carrier SIM, then just tap mobile or cellular data at the top and you'll see that your new eSIM is selected. So that means your phone is now set to use that one for roaming and you won't be charged by your normal network or carrier. And as you start to use your new eSIM, you can track your data usage in the SIM local app by tapping My eSIM, and here you'll see your current plans. You can also top up if you run out of data by tapping add-ons. So if you haven't yet got one and you'd like to support the channel, then please click the link below and don't forget to use Monito's coupon code, Monito15. And if you have any questions or you need some help, then please feel free to use the comments. I'll try to respond as quickly as possible. See you in the next video. Goodbye.